Lando Norris's Spa Grand Prix didn't go exactly as planned, and Nico Rosberg raised some very important questions that will probably drag throughout the entirety of the next season. Does Lando have what it takes to challenge Piastri when push comes to shove? The clinical precision that the Aussie has shown when it matters the most has given us and Rosberg a lot of arguments to think about. Is Norris lacking the key piece to become a world champion? And if so, how could he possibly fulfill that missing piece in the remainder of 2025? The situation in the Drivers' Championship is very tense. And heading into the next race, we know that the two protagonists from McLaren are going to clash their horns in order to claim as many points as possible. However, in Spa, we weren't precisely given a proper fight. So, I think I speak for everyone when I say that we've been left disappointed from Lando Norris's charge. In Austria, although the Brit prevailed in the fight with Piastri, the attacks from the Aussie were much more concrete and aggressive. Whereas here, crucial mistakes have cost Lando a lot in terms of catching up to his teammate. Both of them were on a different strategy. Although it was a one-stop for Piastri and Norris, the fact that Piastri pitted earlier meant that he was going to be ahead of Norris and that the Brit was the one who would be mounted with the challenge to catch Oscar up. However, Norris was given the option to be on the hard compound tire and guarantee that he won't go in the pit stop one more time. Whereas at the time of tire changing, that was not the case for Piastri. When it became clear that both of them would end the race on the same tire, Norris needed some extraordinarily fast laps to catch Piastri and pass him on pure pace and much more preserved tires. And that's when mistakes started to happen. Lockups at turn 1 and going wide in certain parts of the track cost him anywhere between 0.6 and a full second of lap time. And that's clearly something that worries us a lot when it comes to the Drivers' Championship. Even if you talk about the qualifying process, just because he was ahead at the rolling start, it doesn't mean that he is eventually keeping that lead. More often than not, Norris tends to lose his advantage on lap 1. According to Nico Rosberg, the McLaren driver is yet to show the consistency of a champion when it matters the most. And right now, he doesn't have that. Elaborating further on this, the 2016 world champion and Sky F1 pundit went on to say, to listen to Lando's words here, that he was just qualifying lap after qualifying lap on the absolute edge, and that perhaps a couple of mistakes like that could happen. I just question whether someone like Hamilton, if he would also have made 3 mistakes, which I'm not sure. Pushing like crazy in a race like that, when there's hammer time, I'm not sure. I think they don't happen then, those 3 mistakes. And it didn't stop here. Nico Rosberg went on to compare the mistake and the overtake that Lando allowed on Piastri on the rolling start as well. According to Nico, the defensive stance of Norris was very blatant, and ever since that move, it was more or less a lost race for him, despite the strategy being supposed to help him in pursuing and queuing Piastri up ahead. Elaborating further on this, Rosberg said, I think Norris could have done a bit better. Oscar was literally in his gearbox on the restart. It felt like Lando didn't nail that. You can take the guy by surprise. Oscar doesn't know when Lando's going to go, and he can take it by surprise, but that didn't work out. Once Oscar is close, you're in trouble anyway. There's not much more he could have done. I don't know about his driving through Eau Rouge, because Oscar got an amazing run through there. I don't know if Lando lifted there or what, just not optimally executed. You'd think that Verstappen would have done it better. And that lost Norris the race. And this is definitely not the first time that Rosberg has criticized Norris for his mistakes. After what happened in Montreal, where the Brit retired after the crash with Piastri and his teammate finished 4th, the 2016 world champion said that the Achilles heel for Norris has always been the self-doubt, the mental fragility, and the doubts that he has in himself. And ultimately, they are the ones who turned out to be pivotal in Spa. There was, however, a crucial moment that gave Norris a very poor rolling start advantage over the rest of the grid, which is why he was so easily overtaken by Piastri. Zak Brown admitted that there was a key moment in which there was a battery issue that the team had to look into, and that cost Norris a lot. Nico Rosberg was very quick to criticize the McLaren boss for this, saying that it's not allowed to have such problems when so much is at stake and both of your drivers are fighting for the championship. Nevertheless, the mistakes that Lando made afterwards are just too much to justify. And I think that if they continue to happen, it's not going to look good for Lando's career overall. And regarding the battery issue, Stella spoke extensively, saying that while it was something that compromised Norris's restart, it wasn't in regard to him losing the lead so easily before Turn 5. Elaborating further on this, Stella said there was a slight anomaly which actually happened on both sides. Nothing that should have penalized Lando in particular compared to Oscar. The overtaking ultimately came because it's very difficult for the car that leads the pack to actually arrive first in Corner 5. These comments have been made in a very precise manner. Norriss spoke to Sky F1 after the race and said that Oscar made some mistakes as well. But in the conditions that they were racing, such things were expected to happen. And when you're pushing like crazy lap after lap, then you tend to make certain mistakes. However, I don't think Piastri's mistakes are anywhere near comparable to the ones of Norriss. And what's even more important is the fact that Piastri is the one who had a lot more to lose. His tires were supposed to degrade faster, and he had to save them a lot for the ending stages of the race.